looking at the next session of the difference between the Old and the New Covenant, and I want to read to you from Hebrews 10, verses 1 and 2. In the King James it says, "For the law, having a shadow of the good things to come, and not the very image of the things, can never, with those sacrifices which they offered year by year, continually make their comers thereunto perfect. For then would they not have ceased to be offered, because that the worshippers, once purged, once made holy, should have no more conscience of sin," no more sin awareness. And I want to read it to you as well from the Mirror translation, which says, "For the law presented to us a faint shadow outlining the promise of the blessings anticipated in the coming of Christ, even detailing its future significance. The mere sketch, however, could never be confused with the actual object that it represented. The annual sacrificial rites as shadow of the eventual object would always leave the worshipper feeling inadequate and be a reminder year after year of the sinful man. It was impossible to present the perfect offering that had the power to successfully remove any trace of a sin consciousness. Then the sacrificial system would have surely ceased to be relevant." So what this is basically saying is, under the Old Covenant there was a continual reminder of sin because there was a continual sacrifice necessary. Then it's saying that if there was a sacrifice which would be perfect, it would deal with this sin consciousness, it would deal with the sin awareness, deal with the need for sacrifice, and that would be ended. And then the worshipper who brought the sacrifice would no longer need to, the worshippers would no longer need to bring the sacrifice because they would be perfect and holy. And sacrifice is not necessary where people are holy. This is powerful. Now, Jesus was the sacrifice to end all sacrifices. Jesus was the payment to end all payment. The Old Covenant focuses on sin, and it's aware of sin. It's got a sin awareness or a sin consciousness. The New Testament, the New Covenant, focuses on the Son, not sin. It focuses on righteousness, not sinfulness. 2 Corinthians 5:21 says that Jesus, let me read it. It says, "For he made him to be sin for us who knew no sin, that we might be made the righteousness of God in him." In this new covenant, we are made righteous, made right with God. We cannot make ourselves right with God. We are right with God. We are in his good books. I like to say it like this. Righteousness is that we are continuously, always in God's good books. Not because of what we've done, but because of what Jesus has done for us. So an old covenant mindset is to be sin-focused. A new covenant mindset is to be righteousness or Jesus-focused. Another scripture is 1 John 4:17, which says, "Herein is our love made perfect, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment, because as he is, so are we in this world." As Jesus is, so are we in this world now. Not tomorrow, not in the future, not when we die, but now. As he is, so are we right now. So to be sin-focused, to focus on sin that is in our lives is wrong, because Jesus is in our lives. Can light and darkness dwell together? No. Only light. If there's light, there's light. If there's darkness, there's darkness. But if you're born again, there's light. Stop being sin-focused and sin-conscious and be aware of Jesus in you. The Old Covenant, based on this scripture, also focuses on sacrifice. It focuses on what I must do. It focuses on what I must pay the price. It says God helps those who help themselves. What have you sacrificed for God? How much have you given into the offering? How much time do you give? Whereas the New Testament focuses on sacrifice. It focuses on what Jesus has done for us. The New Testament focuses on what Jesus has done for you. The New Testament focuses on what Jesus has done for us, not on what we do for him. It's not about what we do, it's about what Jesus has done. We don't have to sacrifice because he is the sacrificial lamb to end all sacrifices for sin. Isn't that good news? The Old Testament focuses on, I need to deal with this sin. I have to work hard to change my life. I must do my best to be better. Whereas the New Covenant mindset is Jesus has dealt with my sin once and for all. Change is effortless because Jesus changes my heart, I will start to see the fruit of that in my actions. Isn't that awesome, brothers and sisters? We live in a wonderful covenant, and sadly, most believers don't even know what they're missing out on. I encourage you to embrace grace.